Hey everybody, welcome to Lessons with Troy. I'm Troy Brenningmeyer. Well, today's lesson is going to be a pretty specialized one. It's for anybody with a Kemper and a Fishman Aura, and you're wanting to run your dobro or rotophonic or Resonator guitar with a bridge kind of piezo pickup through your Kemper. I actually get on the forums and stuff, I hear people, asking questions about can you run your dobro through a Kemper, and last night I was noodling with this and found a pretty cool way of doing that, and I wanted to show you what it sounds like with and without, and kind of how I'm running this through the Kemper. So first of all, this is if you look, this is going to be my rotophonic, right? And I run it into a Sarno steel guitar black box into my volume pedal, and that's the same thing I do for lap steel. And then I'm running that into this Fishman Aura pedal right into my Kemper. And if you look over here, I actually like external effects pedals. This is a delay and this is a reverb. This is a Strymon Volante delay pedal, and this is a Strymon Flint reverb and tremolo pedal, and I like running that in stereo into the back of my Kemper's effects loop. So here's what all this sounds like with everything. To make this even more realistic, let me mute my microphone, and then you can just hear it just through the Kemper and all this stuff. Okay, so now let's turn this stuff off, and I'll show you what it would sound like without all this stuff. So let me turn off the Aura pedal. Okay, I'm going to turn off the effects loop for the reverb and delay. And I'm going to, well, that was actually the graphic EQ. Let me turn off the reverb and delay, and then let me turn off my compressor. Okay, so here it is just without all this. Let me mute my mic too so you can hear it just with that. So as you can tell, there's a huge difference in sound there. Let me plug the Aura back in, or turn it on. And just so you know, I just have it on setting 1 here, because I'm actually dialing in the tone more with a graphic equalizer on the Kemper. So there it is with just the Aura without my graphic equalizer. Let me turn on the equalizer. Okay, let me turn on my compressor. And now let me turn on the reverb and delay. Turn off that compressor. Sometimes I don't want the compressor. There it is with the compressor. Turn it up a little bit. Okay, so let me zoom in here on the Kemper and I'll show you a few things that I'm doing that's kind of interesting. Okay, so what am I doing here to get this sound through the Kemper? Well, the first thing that I'm doing is notice how none of these are lit up, right? The amplifier I've turned on, I've turned that off. The EQ, that would be down here, that's normally lit up, I've turned that off. The cabinet, I've turned that off. The stack, I've turned that off, right? So all this is turned off so that basically I'm getting it's kind of like a direct box, I feel like. And then what I've done is, I believe this, yeah, there's my stereo effects loop where the in stereo, the delay and the reverb's coming through the back of the Kemper through the effects loop, right? So let me turn that on and off. So there it is on, here it is off. Here it is on. So because that Volante is a kind of a tape, it's emulating a tape-based echo, it kind of makes it a little bit more mellow. It's not such harsh, it's more of a mellow kind of echo. And I just have it very subtly. Right, it's not like anything that's like it's like something you could always leave on, really. At least if you want a little bit of delay. If you're chopping and doing something rhythmic, you probably wouldn't want that on. But if you're playing, more mellow stuff like that, it'd probably be good. The other thing, check this out. Okay, I've set up here, which would normally be like a modulation or whatever. I've set up, if I push that in, I've chosen as you can see that, the studio equalizer. So if I twist this knob here, okay, you have these different equalizers. You have a graphic equalizer. Now what I like is the studio equalizer, and then I exit out of that. Okay, what you're able to do there is you have low gain, and then you basically have your cut and your boost of this low frequency. But what's neat with this equalizer is with this knob here, I can sweep the frequencies, as you can see there. So as I'm playing, I can sit there and play, and with my other hand, be sweeping that frequency. Let me show you. So I could find a frequency either to boost or to cut, while I'm playing. And it's not just a single frequency, that sometimes equalizers are only boosting like a single frequency, or you only have the ability to do that. This one you can sweep the low frequencies, high frequencies. If you go a page over, hit the page over button. There you can do your mid frequencies, and you can set what's called you can still sweep them, and then you can set the Q, which is basically how many. It's kind of like a bell curve. It's a curve to those frequencies. How you can either do a really sharp, just one frequency, or you can widen it out to where you're doing multiple frequencies. That's what the Q means on there. And so that I found is real nice, because then I can go, and if I want, to cut a high frequency, or, maybe do a little boost. Right, so if the numbers are to the right, or the lights are to the right, you're boosting it. As you can see, 3.3 dB. If I go like that, then it's going to go in the negative, which means you're cutting those frequencies. So that's really nice when you're playing dobro. Maybe you get a high you don't like, or a low low frequency that's kind of weird. You can sweep that and kind of cut that frequency. Okay, so that's a big part about getting that sound. So if I put that, let's see. So that sounds pretty good to me, you know. Let's see if I can widen that out. Now the other thing, check this out. If I zoom in here real close, this is another thing for you Kemper users. I kind of just figured this out. I mean, I knew that you could change the main name of your performance, right? As you can see, that says Troy 2. But if you look closer, look here on each slot, they call it, right? So say right there, Dobro. You might say, well, how did you change that name? And then here you can see what amp I'm using. But keep in mind that I'm not really using an amp because I turned the amplifier, EQ, and cabinet off. So I'm really just using this as a direct box, right? So if I zoom in there, check this out. This, you may already know this, and this may be something that's just new to me. If whatever slot you're on your performance, you got to be in performance mode too. Keep that in mind. Over here, your knob, right, when you're setting up a performance, they call it, which is 5 slots. Each one of these are slots. So if we zoom in there, right, and you hit edit, and then what you can do is you can hit slot settings, and then you can hit over here, it says rename slot, right? So if I do that, then I can get in there and I can actually change that name of the slot, which is really cool. So I can just look in there real quick, and let me go back here. And as you can see there, I have, so when I do a gig, maybe I want the Asher for my Hawaiian stuff, and then I have a Dobro setting, and then I have a lap steel setting. So when I go to Dobro, then it turns everything off like that. When I pick up my lap steel, let me show you how I do this. I don't even have one of those foot pedals. I sit down and I just go hit this page over, right? And then there's my lap steel. Go over again. If I want to grab the telly, then I can set each one of those performances to a different amp or no amp at all, like with the Dobro. And all your effects and everything changes for that. So it's set up perfectly for each instrument that I might be playing on a gig. But I thought that was kind of cool to show you that what I'm doing. This is kind of new for me. Just last night, what I'm doing for Dobro, plugging into the Kemper, but still having the ability to just simply go to my lap steel or guitar or whatever and have each one set up differently. But I think before I was just running the Fishman Aura into like an acoustic amp, but I really think it's kind of neat to turn everything off, and then you're just getting the pure Aura into that, but then you can really dial it in with that studio equalizer. And oh yeah, the compressor. Let me show you the settings on that real quick. Sorry. So what I do here is on this button here, I set a compressor. So if I push that, oops, that turned it off. Turn it on. If I hold it down, now I'm in the compressor setting, right? So as you can see that just a little bit, I don't know, I've turned the attack all the way down. Honestly, I don't really know what that does, the attack. Let me show you. If I turn it up, if I turn it down, turn it all the way up. I don't hear much of a difference. And I don't turn the intensity up real high. I just have it on 3.0 because I don't want it to sound really that compressed. But it does kind of add a little bit of boost to it without, it adds a little bit of boost and kind of cuts it out, kind of mellows everything out to where it's a little louder, but it chops it off just a little bit to where it's not going to be peaking out as much, right? And those EQ settings, this might change depending on your instrument. Like if I was using my acoustic Dobro, it might have a frequency that's troublesome, you know, like probably a low mid frequency or whatever. But this, like say the low frequency, I mean, it says low frequency, but it doesn't have to be low. It could be like low or low mids or highs, whatever, because you're sweeping all those different frequencies there, as you can see. So you can, I had it on like 400 hertz or so. Right, and then probably, but that allows, this Rotophonic doesn't have real good bass, so I can kind of boost the bass a little bit, or low mids, I guess it'd be. Something like that. So I would probably tweak with that a little bit. And same thing with the highs. If it's a little changly or something, maybe I'd want to cut some of those. But I just do it until it's basically the lows sound nice and big, and the highs aren't piercing. You know, nothing's ringing out too loud or too soft and too annoying. Like the highs aren't changly and weird, and the lows aren't muddy or woofy. You know, you just want it to be nice and fat and clear without sounding fake, really. You want it to sound realistic. So this is the best sound that I've gotten, at least, running a Reso through a Kemper. So I hope you enjoyed that, and we will see you on the next lesson, guys. Thanks so much. See you. Bye.